Hey guys, I'm Eli's dad, and today's his birthday, his 16th birthday. He can drive, so he's getting his driver's license. He's so excited. But you're here at the channel because you want to see him working on this car, and I want to tell you the backstory of his car. So this is just going to be a short tribute video telling you how this came to be, why he has a YouTube channel, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of the story of Eli because I think it's amazing. And so he's off at working, and I wanted to tell a story. So let me start at the beginning. Eli is totally different from what I expected. From being a baby, he loved cars. He actually was born the same year that Disney's Pixar's movie The Cars came out with Lightning McQueen. So he grew up with that movie and he loved it, and I mean, from his earliest age, he pretended he was a car. He always loved cars, which for me wasn't that exciting. I'm not a car guy. I don't know anything about cars. I didn't even own my first car till I was in my late 20s. And so, you know, here I have this kid who's fascinated with cars and not interested in sports and the things that I did. But as he got older, we thought he'd outgrow this car phase, and he didn't. As he got older, he just specialized, and so by the time he was 4 or 5, he already had fallen in love with the Ford Mustang. And anytime we'd go out, he'd see one, he'd point it out to us. When we'd go on a road trip, he'd count how many Ford Mustangs he saw, and sometimes it'd get up into the hundreds, but he's just always been fascinated by Mustangs. Well, we didn't think anything of that until he was about 14, and he started talking about, I want to get a car one day. And we said, well, what kind of car do you want to get? And he's like, well, of course I want to get a Ford Mustang. So we figured, you know, he'd save up a few $1,000s and be able to get a, you know, like a 10, 15-year-old Mustang with a lot of miles on it. And that'd be great. It'd get him through high school and it'd be fine. But he started working to earn money for a car. He knew that I wouldn't buy him a car. I'm a school teacher. We don't have a lot of extra money. And so he started just hustling. He started doing chores and working around the house, and then he started reaching out to other people. And last summer when COVID hit, you know, everything shut down, but he had this dream of getting his own car. And so he made little flyers and he went around the block and he started talking to all our neighbors, and he said, I'll mow your lawn, I'll do other things, whatever you need. And he started working. And he works really hard, and so word spread that here's this 14 and then 15-year-old kid who will come, he'll work at your yard, he'll do good work. And so it grew, and he got more and more clients, and they paid him really well. And part of the reason they paid him really well is he shared with them, I'm saving up to buy my first car. And he said, I really want to get a Mustang. And all the people in our neighborhood, it's mostly elderly people, they're like, that will be amazing. And so they wanted to help. And so the community kind of rallied around him, which was awesome. Well, around the same time, so again, last summer, he thought, I need to learn about cars, you know, so when I get a car, I can do something with it. And so he knew that we had a friend that has a garage at his house where he works on old cars. His name's Dustin. And he said, you know, would it be okay if I asked Dustin if I apprentice for him? And it was kind of like a Mr. Miyagi type situation where he's like, if I just go work for him on the weekends, maybe he'll teach me a little bit about cars. So he approached him and he asked, and Dustin was thrilled. He thought, this is awesome. Here's a kid that wants to learn about cars. I'm thrilled because I didn't know what to teach Eli about cars, and so it was just a really great situation. So we started going over on the weekends, and he would just work around the house. He'd do yard work, and then he'd help with cars. And Dustin started teaching him different things, and they actually got to work on an old Mustang. Dustin was gutting the Mustang of its internal components and then converting it into an electric. So he had all these car parts from a 66 Mustang, and then he was putting in a kit to make it an electric car. And so Eli was fascinated by this whole conversion process, and it got the gears spinning for him. And he started, I mean, he was still just 14 years old, but he started looking in classifieds to see if he could buy a car. And he was looking, you know, at these 2006, 2005 Mustangs with 150,000 miles, and starting to think, all right, if I keep working hard, I'll be able to get one of these, I'll be able to pay cash. And so he's working hard, but by the end of last summer, he'd already saved up several $1,000s. And so then around the beginning of this new year, he saw a deal in the classifieds. It was like a several-hour drive away, but he called up Dustin. He's like, is this a scam? Because it's too good to be true. It was this car, and it was for $2,000. It had been listed for over $4,000 before, but they just cut the price in half, thinking, you know, let's just unload it. Eli thought it was probably a scam. Dustin thought it was probably a scam, but they called up the guy, they did their due diligence. We sent someone that was in that area over to check it out first, and it looked fine. So we went, we drove up, we picked up the car, and Eli paid cash. It was his own money that he'd saved up. And so he bought this car, and he did it when he was just barely 15 years old. Well, that was the middle of the winter, so he didn't get a lot of work done over the winter just because it gets really cold where we live. And so he worked on the weekends where he could, but then over the summer he started really working on the car, and he'd work for 2 or 3 hours a day. He'd also still be doing lawns and stuff like that for 2 or 3 hours a day, so he worked really, really hard over the summer. And that's why I think his story is so cool. There just aren't a lot of kids today that, you know, 14, 15 years old are willing to work almost full time over the summer so that they can buy a car. It's just such a cool story, and so I wanted to let you know that's how Eli started out. Now, of course, the car looks worse now than it did before because you have to get down and really get into the car. So he's been cleaning things, he's been grinding away rust spots, he's been finding, you know, patching holes in the floor plans and replacing things. He's gotten a new dash, you know, all the parts. He found an engine and a transmission, and he's been starting to put things in, but there's still a lot of work to do, and he really hoped that he would have it up and running by his 16th birthday. We knew that that wasn't a realistic goal for him, but he worked as if it was, and so he's been working so hard, and he really has made huge progress. Now, I haven't posted any of his progress videos yet because it requires a lot of editing, and I'm new to this whole YouTube thing. Mia and Eli are working on it together, but we've put up shorts so that you can see kind of where he's at in the different stages, and so there's just short clips, and you know, we've loved looking at the comments because people are like, you're doing it totally wrong and stuff. I have no idea what's going on here. Eli's figuring it out by watching YouTube videos and talking to Dustin and a few other adults that have come over to help him with it. And so we're learning as we go, but that's why I think this YouTube channel is so cool, is you can learn from Eli on his mistakes and what he's learned, and it's really cool when he learns a new thing, like he learned a new welding strategy recently and he's implemented that. And so hopefully you're learning from him, and we're gonna stick this through. You know, Eli is a really committed kid, and he's gonna get this up and running probably not too long from now. So we'll have that video coming up, and then of course, because we're documenting the whole process, there's going to be a lot of transformation videos. We're going to get it. He doesn't like this paint color, so we're going to change the paint. He's gotten other things that we're going to swap off and get newer parts for him. So he's working hard on it. We appreciate your support. You know, for a kid that's starting out like this and has this YouTube channel, every like means the world to him, and every comment, you know, makes a difference. And so we appreciate those of you who have subscribed and who are supporting him that way. And we're just going to keep pumping out videos. I mean, Eli's doing 99% of the work, so I'm really thrilled to be able to support him as his dad. And I just wanted you to hear his story. So that's all. Have a great day. Bye.